Of the applications team, and today I want to introduce you to a product Melco has actually had for a couple months now, but we really just didn't get the word out, and so now we're getting the word out. We have a new hoop, and it is called, drum roll please, it is called the Melco XL Hoop. Kind of looks like it's a New York style pizza box, but no, it actually is a hoop for your Melco machine. So the cool thing about this hoop, I'll open it up, it actually has the hoop arms that are needed with it, extra bolts for the hoop arms, so the hoop arm bolts, probably they're called screws, so I apologize if I'm not using the right terminology. But yeah, there's these really cool hoop arms that are very, very sturdy, so they're very stout for heavier materials like your Carhartt jackets and things like that. And then the hoop itself, and I'm going to grab this hoop and close the door here on my pizza box. And the hoop itself is made out of composite material. The two pieces, the outer ring, is actually very flexible but very durable. So problems in the past, right, in our industry, as we see down here where the adjustment screw is, that if this is made out of a brittle material or something that has a lot more plastic in it, right down here would break. But this is really, really stout. I can give it a really good bend. I wouldn't suggest doing this, but here I am doing it. But it still holds its form really, really well. And then the outer piece, the piece that attaches to the hoop arms, picture frame, I'll smile, I'm just kidding. It is made out of a little bit stouter material because we want this hoop. So if I try to bend it like I was doing the other one, I can't get it to flex. So it's real, real durable, but yet it isn't brittle. A lot of times the large hoops in our industry are going to be made out of wood. And the problem with wood, great product, the problem with wood is if you don't store it right, or if you're in a very dry or extreme dry and humid location, that wood will get, and I should have brought one in, but I didn't, it'll get a little bit of a flex or a warp to it. And eventually that warp can get bad enough that you can't use the hoop without getting a lot of major flagging and things like that. So this XL hoop is really, really cool. I'd like to get a picture for you real quick. So let me see if I can locate it. Yep, there it is right there. So I will change cameras for a moment. And I just want to show you that on the hoop, we actually have, and let me make it the right way, I apologize. It actually shows us the size. So this is a 45 by 43 centimeter, and then in parentheses we can see the inches. So 17.7 by 16.9. So what's unique about this size is the sew field of your Amaya red and white, your XT, your XTS, your EMT16, your EMT16 Plus, the EMT16X, the Bravo C package, is we really in the past have never had a hoop that gives you that full sew field without having a whole bunch of extra either on the sides or up on the top. So this really gives you from left to right and from bottom to up, really gives you the most sew field that any hoop available for the Melco does. And so that's really cool. I'll show it to you over in Design Shop. In fact, let's just jump over there. So the project today that we're going to be doing actually is this duck. And with the Melco, you might have seen this at some of our trade shows. It's a really fun design. But I wanted to add ducks to it. So you can see that I'm currently using the 14¼ by 11.75 hoop that Melco offers. It's a great hoop, but it's not large enough to do, a good jacket back or front of a hoodie or a biker's jacket or something like that. It's just not big enough to be able to give us that sew field. So in most cases, we would have to, possibly hoop twice to get the ducks text. If we look at some of the other hoops, if we look at the larger rectangle hoop and apply that, you can see that that gives us we can probably make that work left to right and for the duck head alone and Melco, but still that ducks down below is not going to be big enough. So if I grab that XL hoop, and this is available in your hoops, your hoop database. If it isn't, you can always go out to melco-service.com, do a search in the FAQ on XL hoop or hoop update, and it should give you instructions on how to update your hoop database and your software so you can get this hoop. But this guy here allows us to get that, once again, that full sew field. So if we kind of zoom in for a minute, and we're just going to pick one corner for a second. If we zoom in, you see this light dotted line. That is the full sew field of the machine. And so you can see, other than the corners of the hoop, we're getting that full sew field inside of the safe area of using this hoop. So the dark dotted line is going to be your safe sew field so that the needle doesn't strike or the presser foot doesn't hit the hoop. Once again, the light dotted line is the actual sew field of the machine, and then the solid 2 lines is the actual hoop's shape itself. So it gives us, once again, that full space so we can do some really cool jacket backs. Hang tight real quick here. I'm going to grab some samples that I want to show you. And so here's that duck without the ducks below it, the duck with a duck with a duck. So you can see how nice and big that design is. Really, really cool. We're actually going to do applique today on it too. You might have seen, and I said last year's trade shows, but I forgot about COVID. So it would have been 2 years ago trade shows because we had unfortunately have to take a break back in 2020 for that dang COVID stuff. So we did this jacket right at the end of 2019. Really, really big design that with the XL hoop we're able to get that sew field that we need. We also did a Tigers design, once again an applique design, and these varsity jackets are phenomenal to use. They are made by a company called AWDIS. All we do is, and they have these jackets. So they're a really cool company. Anyways, that's a really nice applique design. And then the last one, I think, which might be my favorite, I really like, Scott Stingle digitized this for us. And I really like it looks like someone actually tried this one on. I'm glad it's still here. I really like the shadowing and the stuff that he did on the Bulldog's jowls and the chin. So really cool design, but if you had just those smaller hoops, you wouldn't be able to get into that area. So with the XL hoop, once again, you're really able to utilize that whole sew field for your machines. All the machines I mentioned, all the commercial Melco machines, the Bernina E16 can use this hoop, as well as the Bravo C package is able to use it. The Bravo AB, the sew field is smaller and you can't utilize the XL, but I think you can talk to your salesperson or the sewing machine company that you bought it from, and I think you can upgrade that package AB to a C and utilize this really nice hoop that Melco came out with. So let's jump over and let's talk about the design for a minute. So I'm going to get you back over here. One thing that I like to do, and I should have just stayed where I was, I apologize. One thing I like to do is when I'm doing large places on, in this case it's a hoodie, what I like to do is I like to have it hooped. And so you'll notice that my tabs, that I'm going to actually load it so that the opening, basically we're going to be upside down. So I'm going to put the bottom of the shirt in first so that as it moves around on that lower arm, let's just switch over here. So on that lower arm, the neck of it isn't going to get stuck or possibly pull it out of the hoop or skew the design. So that's why I like to hoop upside down. So that's a good trick, is make sure if you're doing a large product, the neck probably won't give enough space for it to do that whole sew field. So just turn the hoop upside down, or hoop the product upside down. And then what I like to do is I like to have that so that you can, in Design Shop, if you're using Design Shop V11, you will have, and I believe it's the the editor version and above, you'll have these red arrows down at the bottom. So what we can do is, before we get to the machine, we can flip it upside down, and we can take and rotate it. Now, you'll notice that part of the design didn't follow because that was a vector. So now you can see that design looks really good upside down and is ready to go. So I'm going to use, once again, if you've got V11 Design Shop and you're loading to a commercial, one of the Melco EMT, EMT16, EMT16 Plus, or the X, there will be this icon on Design Shop V11, and you can go direct from there to the machine. So we will load that design, and from there, once it gets there, we will walk through setting up the color sequence. All right, so you can see how nice that fits into that hoop. It's already upside down because we did it in the software. And now I can take and do a clear all. I just got to locate one of the thread colors, and it's on number 14, and that is the gray. So a neat trick here is, if you don't have that color of thread on a cone, instead of having to right click on the cone to get there, if you click on the color block down here and then drag it up and release the click, it'll actually assign it to that color number. So real slick deal. We'll do that on the black real quick. We've already done the gray. We need to do it on a teal. Let me see where my teal is. And you know what? I don't have a teal, but we're going to use a green. So we'll leave that on 3. And we need a red, and we've already got that red assigned to the 15. So what we'll do, I like to do this, if I don't, if it's a big design, I want to make sure the colors are right. This step forward here, I can click on that. That'll get rid of all my colors in the design and kind of gray it out. And it'll walk through, okay, let's do color 1. And so if we look real close, you'll see that color 1 is actually going to be the top part of the duck head. So that's gray, so we're going to assign that to 14. Step 2 is actually going to be the tack down stitch. So that first stitch was like a locator to lay the applique down. The second stitch is going to tack that applique down. So before I put the next color in, I'm going to assign an applique pause. Then I'm going to do black, which is on needle 1. We're going to do step forward, and this is going to do the gray for the locator stitch of the jaw and the bill of the duck, which is gray as well. So we're going to go ahead and assign gray to number 3. And let me just click on that. And then the next color is going to be the tack down of the bill, which is black again. And I'm going to put an applique in before that tack down. And now I'm going to give it that black color and then step forward. And now we've got the green satin stitch on the inside. We don't need to do another applique because we've laid our 2 pieces of applique. So we just need to select our green. And we're just going to walk through it and assign these colors as they come up. And it makes it really easy. I like to do designs this way because then I'm sure that I've got it right. If you're in a production setting, you may not want to take the time to do that. But I do the first time, especially a big design like this, it's going to take a little bit to sew. I would rather make sure that it's right than automate that process. And so let me find my brown that we're going to use for his eyes. We're going to do something trippy and use a variegated brown. Actually, yeah, we'll use that brown 4. And I'm talking like you guys are right here with me, so thanks for hanging out with me. So let's see, we're on 12, which is going to be a red. And then we're going to do that green again on number 13. Number 14 is black. Number 15 is going to be the white border to the Melco, which means number 16 would be the red. And then we're going to have this back and forth between red and white on the lettering. And you know, Josh actually did, Josh Welch, part of the applications team, he actually added the ducks to this, and he did a really good job because he made sure that we went from center out. And whenever you're doing borders, you know, two-color text, you want to do the main part of the text as well as the border on each letter before you move on. If you don't do that, depending on the material, if it's got a little bit of give or stretch to it, you may end up with a pull compensation issue where the border doesn't match up to the text itself, the main body. So now that we have all of our colors, we'll just hit apply and OK. And we'll come back to the screen here for a minute. And so from here, what we're going to do is we'll load that design. Now, before I get into it, once we load it, I'm going to take and do a little fast forward through it so that we won't spend, I think this has got you know, like 70,000 stitches in it, so about an hour and 15 minutes of sewing. So we're going to take and shrink that down and do a time lapse through it. But before we do that, I just wanted to show you, we have these cutouts that we made. So this is the bill and the jaw of the duck. I don't know, I think it's a jaw. I could be wrong. And then this is like his head and his feathers. So what was cool is we did these pieces, we cut them by just taking the cut line out of Design Shop, pasting it in Roland Cut Studio, and we used a Roland GX24 to cut this twill. Now we did use a twill blade to do that, and the twill was from Stahl's, real good twill that's got like a sticky backing on it, so I don't have to, you know, use our embroidery spray adhesive to get it to tack down to the, in this case, the sweatshirt that we're going to be sewing. So really cool stuff. We have a different video for that. This one really is to highlight the XL hoop. And so I am going to move over to the machine and we are going to get this going. So I'll be right back with you. When you're loading that material upside down, make sure, I like to put the grabber bar in, and so that's the adjust and the center button will move that grabber bar in, and so that just allows me to make sure that my fingers or the material, in this case of the hoodie, don't drag and snag against that. The other thing that I like to do is I like to fold my hoodie up on top of the hoop, so I don't get it caught underneath. And then once I click it into place and I hear those two clicks, then I can take and I can tuck that part of the kind of the waistband and the pocket on the hoodie back into the bucket of the machine. And another nice thing about the XL hoop is there's a nice cutout here so that there's room. You can actually get your fingers and material in between the hoop arm and the hoop. And sometimes that'll cause a lot of issues. It might cause you like an X or a Y tracking error if that's really tight, or if you do it across the neck and the machine can't pull it. So that's another reason we sew it upside down and we use this XL hoop for it. So once I'm happy with everything being tucked in, I am going to go in and check to make sure on this hoodie. I'm going to go all the way down on my presser foot and 1, 2 clicks up. And once that's done, let's just go ahead and do a trace real quick. And I'm not sure that the laser will actually show up on the screen, but it really helps to have that laser and know that you know, you've got the right hoop selected and everything. So once we're happy with that, the last thing that I'm going to do, and I'll turn it to this screen for a minute, is I always like to reach in my garment, every garment, and I make sure that the bottom material, you know, the back side of the hoodie, is not sandwiched between the lower arm and the top hoop, because what will happen is you'll sew the two pieces together and sew the hoop into the garment and ruin the garment basically. And be honest, I've done it many a times. If I don't get in a routine of checking that, it'll happen again. So that's why I did that. So once we do that, we're going to get going on this fast video. So in my time, I'll see you in about an hour and 15 minutes. In your time, it's probably only going to be like 20, 30 seconds tops. So we'll see you in a minute. All right, and we are completed. Let's take this guy off. Shake off the little applique stickies that pop up off the needle, and that looks great. So once again, Melco XL Hoop allow you to do a huge design like this. We showed some earlier stuff. Here's the cool pizza box that it comes in. Part number is right there, so it is part number 35300. Check it out on Shop Melco. Really is probably the best hoop that is unknown to use on the Melco machine. It'll allow you to explore a lot more embroidery space. If you're doing patches, you could hoop up tearaway material in here, and watch some of our previous videos on how to do that. This would be great for back to school, for spirit wear and stuff like that. So check out part number 35300, the Melco XL Hoop. Thank you and have a great day.